Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Jurnee Taylor, and here's a look at the stories we're following today. A former Arkansas police officer facing felony charges this week after allegedly taking advantage of his community's generosity. What he's accused of doing still ahead. A hostage released from Hamas is sharing her story today. We're hearing from her as well as learning more about the efforts to free others and get humanitarian aid to Palestinian civilians. And are House Republicans closer to electing a speaker? A look at where the race stands at 12:07. But first, let's take a look at weather. Meteorologist Simone Thomas joins us with a look at our Tuesday. Simone, what are you seeing over there in the weather department?
Well, we are seeing some clouds across the natural state. The farther west and north you look, the heavier or more dense that cloud cover is going to be. Starting to see more of the clear or sunnier skies the farther south you look. Here's a quick look across the state. Now, off to our west, remnants of what was Hurricane Norma. Those remnants are moving off to our west farther north. So we're seeing the extra cloud cover to our west in closer proximity. That's also where we're seeing some of the cooler temperatures in the lower 70s. 71 up in Harrison, 74 over in Fayetteville as you move south and east. A little bit warmer, 81 right now in the capital city, 82 over in Pine Bluff, where they're seeing a little more sunshine today. As we continue throughout the day, though, looking to climb to more of the middle to upper 80s with plenty of mix of clouds and sun. As we continue throughout the day, though, there's also going to be that chance for some gusty winds coming from the south between 5 to 15 miles an hour, and an isolated sprinkle possible off to the west as well. Now, we're going to be talking about some changes coming up in our forecast, but you're going to have to stick around for the full forecast to hear more about those changes.
All right, Simone, thank you. Well, we begin with the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. One of the two elderly Israeli hostages released yesterday is now describing her experiences. Despite their release, Hamas is believed to still be holding more than 200 others captive in Gaza, including Americans. Michael George has more on that and the deteriorating conditions in the area.
Sitting in a wheelchair, 85-year-old freed hostage Yocheved Lifshitz described her kidnapping. Her daughter translating from Hebrew.
My mom is saying that she was taken on the back of a motorbike and that while she was being taken, she was hit by sticks.
Hamas handed over Lifshitz and 79-year-old Nurit Cooper to the Red Cross last night. Lifshitz says she was treated well, but separated from her husband early on. He's still believed to be held by Hamas, among about 220 remaining hostages.
We do not know, from my mom's story, what happened to my dad. We do know that he was injured.
Israel has stepped up airstrikes in Gaza ahead of a widely anticipated ground assault. Israel's military says it hit more than 400 Hamas targets overnight. Gaza, though, is very densely populated, and many of the dead and wounded appear to be civilians, including children. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is attending a UN security meeting on the Middle East, as United Nations agencies call for much more humanitarian aid to be allowed into Gaza.
Food, water, medicine, and other essential humanitarian assistance must be able to flow into Gaza and to the people who need them.
UN organizations describe the situation in Gaza, home to 2 million people, as dire. They say more than 20 times the aid currently being delivered is needed to support civilians living inside the Hamas-controlled territory. UN officials say nearly 2/3 of Gaza's health facilities have ceased functioning as fuel runs very low. Michael George, CBS News, the United Nations.
Now, Israel has not allowed fuel into Gaza amid concerns that it will end up in the hands of Hamas. The conflict can be an overwhelming topic for some to talk about, but for Arkansans with family near the conflict, fearing for their loved ones has become a part of daily life. Now, Nader Abu Diab serves on several committees at the Islamic Center of Little Rock, but he was born in Jerusalem and his parents still live there. He told us he feels helpless being so far away and is worried about the violence escalating.
My parents are 83 years old. I do not know how they're going to be able to go and get supplies, how they're going to go and get food if those roads are blocked.
Back here in Arkansas, he's working to educate his kids about what's going on in the Middle East, as well as managing concerns for the Islamic community here in Central Arkansas. He says he hopes for more education and compassion as the conflict continues. You can find his full story right now on THP11.com. A former England police officer is facing felony charges, accused of swindling his community out of thousands of dollars. Eric Caffey turned himself into the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office last Thursday. Caffey allegedly took advantage of his community's generosity, saying he was suffering from cancer. Organizations and schools in England then held fundraisers for his medical expenses. But after an investigation, Lonoke County detectives say they've determined he lied about the diagnosis. Caffey is out on bond this week, charged with 2 counts of Class D felony theft of property. A conviction of that crime has a maximum 6 years prison sentence. Police in Pine Bluff are still searching for a man they consider to be armed and dangerous. 21-year-old Deontay Coleman is wanted in connection to a deadly shooting that happened earlier Sunday morning. He and 3 others who have been arrested are accused of killing 1 person and hurting 3 others in a shooting on North University. If you see him, call police. And an Arkansas woman has been arrested in California, charged with abducting 8 children. Police in California received a call for a welfare check on a group of 6 kids and the woman with them. Police identified the woman as 36-year-old Trista Fullerton of Rogers. She had a warrant from Arkansas as well. Police were able to find the 2 kids not with Fullerton at a home in the area. She is the biological mother to all 8 children, but lost custody before taking them from their foster homes. And in North Little Rock, police have made an arrest in a homicide that happened on September 10th. Police arrested 44-year-old Ryan Cohens for the murder of 42-year-old Cassandra Lusk at the Overbrook apartment complex. Cohens was already in custody at the Pulaski County Regional Detention Facility, where he was being held on other charges. Well, 3 weeks after voting to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House, Republicans are once again trying to find a Speaker nominee. The biggest challenge, finding someone capable of winning enough support within their own party to be able to win a majority vote on the House floor. Natalie Brand has more details from Capitol Hill.
Republicans have begun secret balloting on who they want to nominate for the next Speaker of the House.
It's going to be a tough decision for the conference because we have great candidates and it's an embarrassment of riches in there.
They had 7 candidates to choose from at the start of the day, but it will take multiple ballots before they settle on one person.
Going to go in and hopefully go through rounds of voting, but finally settle on a candidate who can get 217 votes on the House floor so that we can elect a speaker today. That's the goal.
This is the 3rd time Republicans have gone through this process. Neither Majority Leader Steve Scalise nor Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan were able to unite all of the GOP support needed to win. That has prompted some to call for House Republicans to sign a pledge that they'll support the nominee even if it isn't their first choice.
There's been talks about having consequences if you don't support the team. I think that's legit.
But Kevin McCarthy's ouster as Speaker has brought out deep-seated divisions within the conference.
Nothing about this has gotten better, and anybody who says it's getting better that's just not true.
On day 21 without a Speaker, it's still unclear when the House will head to the floor for a full vote. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, Republicans can only afford to lose 4 votes on the House floor and still get the 217 needed to elect a speaker. In other news, nearly 7,000 workers from Detroit walked off the job yesterday at the nation's largest Stellantis plant. It comes as the United Auto Workers Union continues to expand its strike against the big 3 automakers. The plant makes one of the brand's biggest sellers, the Ram 1500 truck. Since the strike began last month, more than 40,000 auto workers from Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis plants across the country have walked off the job. A warning for shoppers who plan to swipe for their holiday purchases this year. A new survey from Bankrate found that retail credit card annual percentage rates, or APRs, have hit a record high of 28.93% on average this year. It comes as the cost of borrowing has increased for consumers after multiple interest rate hikes from the Federal Reserve. October is Sudden Infant Death Syndrome Awareness Month, and this afternoon we're introducing you to one program that's working with new parents to prevent the tragedy. More on that after the break. Plus, using green to make some green. That's how officials are turning Arkansas into a tourist destination. The huge wave of visitors the Natural State saw last year still ahead. Simone?
Now we are seeing partly cloudy skies across central Arkansas today. How long is this cloud cover and warmer than normal temperatures are going to stick around? Well, I have the answer for you coming up after this break.